In this lesson, we will learn how to submit an artist listing to coastarts.org. You have learned in a previous lesson how to log on and have seen the menu of choices there. If you choose Submit an Artist from that menu, a form will appear which, if filled in and submitted, will immediately create an artist listing in the Coastal Arts directory of coastarts.org. Here are some of the items that are required for an artist submission. In the form, the required items will have an asterisk in the label. You should be prepared to enter these into the form. Here are the other required items. Note that an image on your computer will be needed, as well as an artist's email address and mediums the artist uses. And these are optional items that can be used. Optional items can be left blank, and the headings for the unused items will not appear in the listing. The best practice for preparing for a submission is to use a word processing document to enter and save, as a text document, the needed text and other information for the submission, just in case you need to resubmit at a later time. Most commonly, the Microsoft Word program or Notepad program is used for this. The text can be copied from the document into the form, or optionally you can just type directly into the form. Be sure to save the Word document as a text file to remove special formatting before copying the text. Copying can be done with the shortcut keys of Control-C and pasting with Control-V. Apple users use the Command key instead of the Control key. Let's look at how these are entered into a submission form. Your identity as the submitter is required to be entered in the first two boxes of the submission form. The submitter's name may be different than the artist's name. The submitter's account email is required, however. You will be entering the required synopsis or short description of the artist. This will be seen in the list view of the artists on the Coastal Arts directory. This should be only one sentence or two and should encourage the site visitor to see the artist's detail page. Note that an image file is required. You should find an appropriate image on your computer to represent the artist. There are two important issues with images, as was noted in a previous lesson. The image should be a portrait-oriented image, and the image file size must be less than 2 megabytes. When you click the Browse or Choose File button, an Open File dialog box opens, allowing you to navigate to the image file on your computer that you wish to use for the listing. Once found, the file is selected and the Open button is clicked to finish the selection. The next input area on the artist submission form is used to enter the required detailed description that will be used in the artist listing. Like other text boxes, you can type directly in the box or paste from a copy of text from a word processing document. The text box is a special one, however, with editing buttons for bold, italic, underline, indent for formatting, and buttons to create and remove links to web pages. For formatting text, either click the button and type to enter the formatted text, or select the text and click the button to apply the format. The link button will pop up a dialog to allow the entry of a website address. The next two text boxes in the form are for optional entry of the artist's website and Facebook web page. A prefix of http:// is provided for the website to remind you to use that prefix for both entries if made. If there is no website to be entered, then you should erase the http:// that is there. The next two text boxes in the form are for optional entry of the artist's address and studio information. Addresses can be several lines of information, and studio information can be the name and possibly the location of the studio. The boxes will scroll automatically to allow more text than the width of the box. Next in the form are text boxes to enter the address's required email address and optional phone number. It is assumed that the artist has an email address and that it is the best way to contact him or her. The form requires that at least one medium is selected from the scrollable list that is there. Multiple mediums that the artist is involved in can be selected, however. Click the arrows to scroll to the medium you wish to choose, and click your choice. If a second or third choice is made, you must hold the PC's Control key or Apple's Command key while clicking these added choices. The selected choices will be highlighted in the list. The final entry in the form is for the city or town that the artist is based in. This choice will allow visitors to CoStarts.org to find the artist by filtering their search by town. Clicking on the arrow will drop down a list of cities with a scroll bar to drag down to see further down the list. Select the city name by clicking on it to highlight it. Your last step will be to click the Submit button. Since you will not be editing the information after it is submitted, you should make sure it is all correct before submitting. If you have not entered one or more required items, the form will not submit and will highlight the missing entries in red with messages of what is mandatory. Simply enter the missing information and click Submit to correct this problem. If the image file is too large, however, the form will simply refuse to submit. The exercise that follows is a simulation of the actual form so that you can practice. Prepare with some information to type or paste into the form. Do not take too long, however, in deciding what text to use at this time, since we are just having you experience the procedure. Find the image you will need on your computer as well, making sure it is a portrait orientation and less than 2 megabytes. A simulation of the resulting listing will be presented to you after you submit the form. You will then be instructed how to return to the lessons.